Welcome to the project portion of week 3. So at this point, you have read through the layout tutorial and you have learned all about the storied history of CSS, and especially, hopefully, you learned about Flexbox and Grid. Those are kind of the main layout tools that I encourage you to check out. Blocks and floats are still used, but mainly I would focus on Flexbox and Grid. Anyway, you would have read through this or watched the other video or a combination of both and learned all about different properties you can set and all that good stuff. So in this week's project, what you're going to do is take all of that and you are going to build a web page that is designed for a business. Now, like I said in previous videos and in previous communications, one of my main goals with this course is to give you opportunities to get creative. So I am not going to tell you what that business is. It can be real. You can make it up. You can say that you are thinking of making this kind of business and you are putting together a web page ahead of time. Any of the above. You can take inspiration from the real world, or you can completely make it up all entirely on your own. I don't have a preference. But the idea is that once you come up with your business, whether that's real or imaginary or something else, you're going to build a web page for that business. And the reason we are doing this is to practice different CSS layout tools that we've used or that we've learned about. So display grid, display flex, and the CSS media queries to make your display change based on the size of your screen. So those are the kinds of things I encourage you to play with and implement as part of your project this week. So the way I would start is, first off, whether you're using desktop or Replit, doesn't matter. Just check out the existing files. So I have my GitHub repo checked out onto my desktop here. So I'm going to go into the week 3 layout directory and I'm going to open up the files. I'm going to open it with Atom, but you can use whatever editor you want. And here we go. Sure. So all I've done is open up the files in my editor. Here's index and here's styles. And like I said, you can use any editor you want, any setup you want. If you want to use Replit, it's all good. But I would, just read through the code and see if you can kind of get an idea of what it's already doing. So we've got a body tag, a nav tag, a div, and a footer, and some content. Okay, and we've got styles that style that content. Okay. So then I would open up your index file in your browser. And woof, this layout leaves a lot to be desired, and that's intentional. It's a starting point that hopefully you feel inspired to change. So this is very much a placeholder. Feel free to delete any of the content, start from scratch, whatever. It's yours now. So the idea is to replace this content with your own HTML and CSS to create a web page for your business. Again, whether that's fake or real, whatever. So the way I might start is, first off, maybe just forget about the computer for 1 second. Maybe get out of a piece of paper and a pencil and maybe just draw out your design. So whether that is using something like the Holy Grail layout, which this tutorial talked about, where you have a header, a left nav, a right nav, some content and footer, or something else, it's entirely up to you. If you want to show a grid of thumbnails, for example, if you have an image kind of web page, or if you want to show anything else, really, it's entirely up to you. So I'd start by drawing out your design. And then I would think about how you break that design down into individual sections. So maybe you have one outermost section that maybe uses grid layout to lay out your individual elements inside of the main section. And then you look at each individual section and kind of repeat that process. So for example, let's see, this example homepage is real gross. So, maybe just to show you how I might play around with it, maybe let's look at this nav div. So right now, what is it? It's just a nav that has 3 links. Okay, so maybe I'll change the CSS for the nav, and maybe I'll give it a display of flex, and I'll refresh my page to see what that ends up looking like. I don't think it'll look much different. Yeah, okay. And then maybe I'll go back to the tutorial and look through some of the flex properties that I can use, and then use them and experiment with them to come up with a better design. So I'm going to maybe look at the justify content property, and maybe like space between or space around, something like that, and just try it out and see if it looks better to you. Justify content space around, something like that. I'm just using this kind of arbitrarily. I'm not saying that you should do exactly what I'm doing, but this kind of thinking where you change something and see if it looks better, and go from there. So let me try to refresh my page over here. And yeah, maybe, it's kind of up to you whether you like it better or not, but that iterative process of trying something out, seeing if it works, seeing if you like it, and seeing if it gets you closer to your goal, and then just repeating that process until you have satisfied the 5 criteria that are in the repo README. And then, of course, make sure that you submit it back to GitHub. So whether you're using desktop, GitHub Desktop, or Replit, just make sure that by the end of the project, your sort of live URL that you can share with other people has all of your changes, because that's what you'll be submitting and that's what you'll be presenting in class. Okay, so that's it for the project. Like I said, I encourage you all to get creative. So whether that's making up a business that's kind of goofy and funny, or if it's something more serious, there's a whole range of things you can do, and I encourage you to explore that space to create something that's meaningful to you, rather than trying to just obey some rules that I'm dictating. Anyway, now I'm getting rambly. So yeah, that's the project. Let me know what questions you all have, and please contact me and talk to each other and stuff. But I'll say have fun, and let me know what questions you have. All right, thanks. Bye.